Millions of tons of plastic waste gets dumped into our oceans every single year. Indonesia is the second biggest contributor. Saputra reports on the country's measures to try to alleviate this trash problem.
This is Jakarta's main source for drinking water. What lies beneath it will make you queasy.
We're collecting garbage from one of the many small rivers that make up Jakarta's main river. As you can see from the amount of trash here, imagine that multiplied hundreds of times by the time it gets to the city. We're just trying to do what we can to help.
Asun and his fellow volunteers are part of a social movement that's trying to save Jakarta's rivers. But they are facing an insurmountable task.
In Jakarta alone, the city produces 7,000 tons of garbage every day, and 1,000 tons of that garbage ends up in the ocean.
In Indonesia, people living along the coast generated about 3.2 million tons of mismanaged plastic waste in 2010, about 10% of the world total. These facts came out in a landmark study from the University of Georgia that ranked Indonesia as the second biggest source of plastic waste dumped into the sea worldwide every year, with China as the biggest source. Together, they account for roughly a third of the world's plastic waste. And that's not all.
Aside from the city garbage, we also have industrial waste from factories, mostly small to medium home factories that dump their toxic waste into the rivers, which then ends up in the ocean.
A combination of insufficient infrastructure, poor public education, and an uncontrolled population boom has created a crisis here. Already, the waters at the Jakarta Bay is too contaminated for marine life, and experts warn that the problems will multiply if nothing changes.
The government has put in place massive regulation reforms on waste management back in 2008. But the enforcement of these rules are continuing to be a problem.
85% of the garbage problem is caused by the lifestyle. We already see a lot of community-based movements forming out of this concern, but this can only be a solution if the movements are supported by the government.
That's why movements like the Ciliwung Institute, that is not only simply cleaning up the rivers, but also educating the local population, can be crucial to help Indonesia's trash problem. Saputra, CCTV, Jakarta.